And we are happy to introduce you to a fascinating new exhibit that just opened at Paris's Musée des Arts Décoratifs called Private Lives, From the Bedroom to Social Media. It's a journey through the evolution of privacy from the 18th century to today. From the bathroom to beauty products, from art to sex, from social media to surveillance. The exhibition examines the profound changes our private lives have undergone. And we're thrilled to welcome the curator of the exhibition, Christine Massel, to our studio. Thank you so much for joining us here on France 24 today. Now, some of the items in this exhibit, they're going to probably make people a little bit uncomfortable because it's not always comfortable to look at what we humans do in our private time. Why did you think, though, as the curator, and this was your idea for this exhibition, why did you think it was important to examine privacy?
Because private lives and intimate spaces and times have changed very much the last 20 years. So I wanted to give an idea to the public through the objects and artworks that are in the show, how much it has changed also since 2 centuries. And what we consider to be the intimate today is not what was the intimate two centuries ago. So for me, it was very important to understand that with the internet, with social medias, with surveillance, we have a new world where the frontiers between private and public space are totally blurred, and that we have to adapt to this new social reality and make our choices.
Mm-hmm. And for visitors of the exhibition, through the objects that you show, is there something that you want people to rethink about their own lives and their own privacy?
Yeah, for me, there was two questions: whether the intimate space is too important in our lives so that we abandon in some way the responsibility that we have as a citizen into democracy, so less public, more private. At the other hand, there is also this issue about the fact that our private life is threatened by surveillance, hacking, and so we are at a time where things are quite tense and paradoxical.
Right. Everything feels a little less private, either because of our own sharing or because of surveillance that we have no control over. I wanted to ask you about 2 specific parts of the exhibition. The first one is this photo of a homeless person who is sleeping on a bench. If we can pull up that photo.
Yeah, a photograph from the French artist Mathieu Pernaut, where you see a person sleeping on a bench. Mm-hmm. And I chose this photograph for the part that I dedicated to the intimate in times of precarity. Because, in fact, when you look at this picture, you understand that when you have no objects around you, you don't have any private life and then no identity, and that objects define us. So I did some photographs around hospital, migrants camps, or prisons to show that the objects that we own define the intimate space we can have.
Right, and obviously if you don't have a home, even having private space and creating private space is especially difficult.
Yeah, sure.
Right. The second part I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like this is maybe not something that people would always think about when they think about our private lives and the shifting privacy, but is the role of social media when it comes to our private lives. You feature Instagram accounts in the exhibit. Can you just talk a little bit about how, to you, social media has changed or blurred the lines between our public and private lives?
Yeah, with social media, you have these exposures of people who want to be famous or who are famous already. And in fact, they make you feel that they share their intimacy or intimate space with you. And that's how you become the follower. I wanted to ask these people who do that as a job, what is the intimate for them? So they wrote some statements. And what appeared clearly is that, in fact, they keep their intimacy and private life quite secret, and the intimate that they show is very constructed. And I wanted the public to be aware also about this difference between a real intimacy and a constructed one.
I think this is something that's really hard for a lot of people. We hear these studies of how social media impacts confidence and self-esteem, and it's really hard for people to understand where the line is with privacy and public lives online.
I think things have begun in the 2000s when we got the Big Brother on television. So it was the first moment, I think, that was quite shocking at the time, during which you could look at people exposing their privacy. And so now it seems common. Also, it's a danger, potential danger also, because images can be stolen. And you can also, in fact, participate to something that you don't control. But at the other hand, I think that people like Lena Mahfouz, for example, Lena Situation, who came to visit us, is a wonderful help to bring younger visitors to the show because she's very much followed. On the other hand, the older people who come to the show, they really discover what is influence and social media, and they really get into something that they are not familiar with. So somehow it's also a sort of transmission to various generations that I try to make possible in this show.
Now, the show's been open for just a couple of weeks now,
Yes.
but what kind of initial reaction are you seeing? Has there been anything that's surprised you?
Yeah, I like to see women at the beginning of the show looking at this documentary of 1967 about the Salon of the Women of Interiors, which happened in Paris, and where you see some very misogynistic remarks about the fact that women should stay at home and do embroideries and so on. And to see younger and older women laugh at this documentary is for me a satisfaction to see them really like going over this statement that still existed 50 years ago.
And finally, I want to ask you about the future of privacy. I mean, it's a history of looking back, but when you think about what the future is going to look like 10 years from now, 20 years ago, or 20 years from now when it comes to our private lives, what do you envision?
It's not very clear yet, but I think that artificial intelligence may change again the situation. But we are entering into a time where appearance and the way we look became so important that I don't see things changing very soon. But maybe a consciousness about this phenomenon and this maybe excess of individualism and narcissism could arise in our minds through this kind of exhibition, thanks to the catalog that people can read and deepen this thinking and understand that we need maybe to think about more common.
Christine Massel, curator of Private Lives, From the Bedroom to Social Media. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to checking out this exhibition myself. And it is running through the end of March 2025 here in Paris at the Musée des Arts Décoratifs, if you want to check it out yourself as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all for this news.